Okay. So my name is Nicole Martinez. I was in the Pay Inequality for Women group, and I am going to share my screen here in 1 second. Uh-oh, I can figure out how to do that. Share screen. So, here is my section of our, um, again, Pay Equality Against Women in Group 2. So the first part that I'm going to talk about is the social justice advocacy and the counseling field. And what that does for me is bring up the first question of how are counselors advocate for the underpaid? Um, I think this kind of goes along with if you're directly in career counseling or if you are in sort of a general counseling one-on-one group. It could even work for a actual group as well. And the first way we do that is we help our clients to learn how to empower themselves, um, kind of knowing their own worth, meaning, if they're underpaid and they're not happy with it, how are they going to go about changing that? And knowing their worth helps them to see that they do need, are they eligible for a raise and what are the reasons they need a raise? We might go into providing some career counseling and other career services. Again, if we don't feel as a general counselor that we are adequately able to deal with that, we can try to refer them to actual career counseling. But I think a lot of times, just the regular, in your process type of counseling, what we can do is try to help them by advocating for them with some case management services that either we're going to directly provide or again we're going to help them find these community resources. And some of the works with the client, some of the work with the clients that we will do as a career counselor would be maybe work on some resume building and learning how to negotiate for a raise. So I don't know, according to what I found on web information and doing my research, some of it seemed kind of biased, but especially when talking about, with women, um, they need to learn how to, write a formal resume as well as write formal letters for asking for a raise. So some of the things that you would want to do when you are writing your formal letter and submitting it to either your supervisor or perhaps the administrator of your building. Like for where I work in a nursing home, so that would be done by doing three things. I would have to write the same letter and make copies and give that to my direct supervisor, human resources, as well as the administrator of the building. So then when you're going to ask for a raise or you're negotiating, I guess, for a raise, the first thing you want to do is to be able to note your own merits. Like, what are the things that you're providing to this company that you feel are merits and that are worthy of a raise? Don't get emotional in this letter. This is a formal business letter. This is not a place for talking about your feelings other than that you think you're eligible for a raise. Another thing to do is that you can either work with your client with yourself or have them, if they're tech savvy enough, to do a little bit of research about the field that they're in and do some research, especially with what are the going rates for others in the area. I can give an example for myself, and through the interview process that I did with the director of nursing at my company, is she says, the going rates are usually listed online. You can find, like, say, for nursing or certain career fields. For myself, being a case manager, the going rates right now are anywhere from $15 to $21 an hour. So if I feel like I'm underpaid and I'm not making anywhere near that $21 an hour, I would list that in my letter saying that, in the state of Illinois, which is where I am at, the going rate for this job with this type of experience and type of caseload level is closer to $21 an hour. Now, perhaps you're not going to ask for that high amount, but for something that you, as you yourself being the client, and then you work with your counselor to figure out what do you together come to a consensus thinking what should be the rate to ask for. This is going to do two things again is if you know what you're asking for and you know what the current rates are, they really have no argument against you as to why you shouldn't get this raise because this is whatever, this is industry standard. So it goes to our next question, and then that is how are counselors advocating for change? So maybe on a smaller scale, as you're only helping this one person at a time or several clients at a time, we're going to help them to close that gender gap again through empowerment of self. It's not fair that their male counterparts are making more money. However, when I'm going to get into what I talked about in my interview in a few seconds here, but the other ways is that we're going to help our clients to realize that even us as women in our own job sites and our own professions, we are actively advocating for ourselves and for our coworkers. Let's see. When talking with the clients and we want to help them make change, we need to help them to decipher what exactly they want to change. Do they need to change their job setting? Are they wanting to change careers? Maybe it's issues of, for women, if they're single women, is it an issue of childcare? These are things that we can help them work on to figure out so that they can feel more empowered to make these changes. And then when they're getting to that part of asking for a raise or perhaps into a different, not exactly a different field, but into a different job title, we need to talk about how are they, where do they work? Who are they working with? Do they have supportive staff? And do they have supportive management? And then when it gets to the part of if they really are that unsatisfied with their job or career, can we help them find more specific career counseling if we are not directly career counseling? Is there other ways that we can help them to perhaps maybe find ways to go back to school, maybe get some different certifications, different trainings? Sometimes it could even be as simple as taking a free typing class at a library so that you can, you're open to more jobs if you know how to do some different skills. And I think part of what I want to talk about with the gender gap is in the interview that I had with my director of nursing, she explained that yes, there is a gender gap even within our own building, being that we have very few male nurses and we have very few male workers in general, that being the kitchen, nursing, CNA, even the laundry and the housekeeping staff are mainly female. I would say in that entire building for 3 shifts, we have maybe 10 males at work. We try to have at least 1 male nurse at a time and at least 2 male CNAs because at times, sometimes it seems like this is coming from my friend. Her name is Dawn Jenkins. She's the director of nursing at 304 Oaks. She said sometimes there's just jobs that are better suited for our male staff. They do a lot of other things that they go out of their way to make sure that the residents and the staff is safe. They take on a lot of security responsibilities that were not in their job description, being a housekeeper, a case manager, or a CNA. So they may make a little bit more money, but they kind of do more work. I don't know if that's true for everywhere, but that's what I can say for where I work. So then we're going to go to the next slide, which is talking about how our counselors advocating for their clients that are bringing up issues with pay inequality and inequality in general in counseling. You know, again, are we in direct career counseling or are we in general counseling? If this concern is severe enough that it's causing our clients to have these issues, run into other areas of their life, perhaps they do need actual career services, career counseling. Maybe we can help them to feel that within our sessions, they can work on acceptance of the real issues that are going on. Are the real issues that they're unsatisfied with their job? Are they having issues with coworkers, supervisors? Are there illegal things going on in the workplace, such as sexual harassment, other kinds of harassment, or again, pay inequality that is really bothering them? And while we're talking and working with our clients, how are we helping them to cope? You know, are we helping them work on self-care? Are we helping them work on making those changes? Or are we helping them look for a new career or a new job? So maybe some people have been at their job for so long that they don't even know how to go about looking for a new job, which is nowadays usually it's online if it's like somewhat of an older client or a client that is just not tech savvy. And this, we're going to be advocates for them and maybe a little bit of case management for them as well. Bringing into our next point is that sometimes counselors are also case managers. And according to some of the research I did, by an article by Counseling Today, we need to remember that being an advocate, or the word advocacy, really means at its core that we are providing help for people in need. And these are our clients. They're here because they need help with something, be it emotional issues, mental health issues, or again, career related issues that are coming into other areas of their lives. So what exactly do we help them with? Let me find my notes. So, and kind of being that case manager / counselor, um, if we cannot ourselves figure out how to help them better, there are people that can. Can we give referrals to community support services, such as, can we help them get childcare vouchers? Some states, I know Illinois is one of them, depending on your income level, your family size, whether you're married or not, they do give out childcare vouchers, and that kind of helps, especially more so single moms. I think that, they have to worry about, where is my child while I'm at work? How can I do my work if I'm worrying about my children being safe? That's a big issue for a lot of people, not just women, but since this is focusing on women, we'll go with the women. Other ways is that, are our clients needing help with other things other than job related issues? So if they're not making enough money, is there ways that we can help them perhaps get assistance with food, rent, or other kinds of bills? Is there things that their children need that they need? And are there community resources we can kind of link them up with? If we are, if we discuss what's going on with our clients and it comes out that they are being harassed, what sexually or not, being in a hostile work environment is not legal in this country. We need to help them by advocating and, again, helping them find the right place to turn, can they make a union grievance? Or if our client tells us, well, I don't want to make a union grievance, that's going to make things worse, then everybody's going to know. So what would they do then? I think at that point they need to go to perhaps the Better Business Bureau, or around Illinois and Indiana we have a service called Work One, which is traditionally like an employment agency, but they handle these cases of hostile work environments, hazing, sexual harassment things. So perhaps some of our clients do have these legal matters that need to be handled legally, and if they can't afford a lawyer, are there other legal services that we can help them link up with? Again, that would be in this area, it's Workforce One. They provide those kind of services. In the direct area that I work in, we have several websites that you can research and look for on your own, where you could find, there's called legal aid services. Um, and this could even go into an issue of, is a client going through a divorce and now their income is going to change, their child care is going to change, and they're having a hard time because they're worrying about these things. Can they get legal aid services to help them with their divorce, child support issues, stuff like that? So that kind of brings me to the end of everything. I want to talk a little bit more about the interview that I had with my director of nursing. And we did talk about how she has at times in her life faced issues of pay inequality and unfair treatment. She's talked about how at times she's been sexually harassed, but she let it go unreported because she was trying to make it or break it, which again is not fair. It's not, and we're glad that the world is changing because people like us are making these changes. Um, and she goes into telling me that right now, the way that she's brought some change into the company that I directly work with is that, she helped to create the program where if we have our CNAs or other employees that want to be CNAs, eventually make it to being nurses, there are tuition reimbursement programs. There's online trainings that we sponsor. All of those things help to just add to your skill level. She herself started out just like I did. I started out as a patient escort, meaning that all we did all day was come and get the patients, and we rode on the either on the bus or we caught taxis, or eventually the facility got its own transportation systems to big vans, and we take our clients, which is the residents of the facility, to their doctor's appointments. It's kind of the lowest paid job in the facility, and people start from there and they work their way up. So she said it's taken her close to 12 years to make it from being a patient escort to the director of nursing for that facility. And she also consults with the other facilities in the Berea system. So I was very pleased with what she had to say. And I do feel like, more so now that I've looked into what this advocacy really means, is that myself as a case manager, sometimes I'm not only being supportive for my residents, I'm being supportive for my other employees. I've helped employees to work on resumes, learn how to apply for different jobs, and as well as I've negotiated my own pay raises, but I had to negotiate for pay raises for the entire department I'm in, which is social services. Um, we're all case managers, but they call it social services. So that is my presentation, and I hope everybody has a nice holiday. Let's see if I can get back to where I'm going. I hope everybody has a nice holiday, and the end of this class is going good for everyone. Have a nice night.